Welcome to Pints and Politics. I'm still your host, Dan Parsons. As our regular listeners and viewers know, Pints and Politics is about collecting some of the best and brightest thought leaders in our community to talk about what's important going on in the community and in the state and the country. And we do that, thankfully, the way politics ought to be discussed, and that is over a delicious local craft beer. And so welcome. This is actually episode number 30. If you're following along with your bingo card at home, fill in episode number 30. And so let me introduce our guests tonight. Tom Lorenz is a longtime friend, and because of music.
Exactly.
And Tom, as most of you probably know, runs the Pinnacle Bank Arena and also the beautiful Pinewood Bowl. And so Tom, welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we've known each other for a long time, and it's been good all that time also.
Yeah, no hiccups.
No, but it's I always tell people I have the coolest job in town because we get to do wonderful events and we get to meet people all the time. We have beautiful facilities, and Lincoln is the best place to live. So it's been really, really fun, and it's been a few years now. It's in that 23, 24 years already. Wow. So Lincoln's home, and my family loves it here, and I'm honored to be asked to be part of this.
Well, we are honored to have you, Tom. Sorry it's taken 30 episodes to get you on.
It's okay. You got to save the best for last.
That's exactly right. And so welcome, and this will be a great conversation. I know for a lot of us, we're wondering, how is Pinnacle Bank Arena doing? How's the entertainment industry doing here in Lincoln? And so we'll get into all of that.
Very good.
And welcome to Jeff Maul, the executive director
Yes.
of the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And Jeff, this is your return engagement.
It only took 27 episodes, but
Right.
I'm back.
Thank you for coming back, because you didn't have to say yes.
Well, I'm honored to be here. It's always great communicating with you, Dan.
Episode number 3, again, if you're following along at home, is before we invented video, and it was only audio with a few photographs. Mm-hmm. Jeff, we were around the corner here in a tight little studio before we realized we could break out of that. And you were with our good friend, Chef Kevin Shin, and we talked about food and dining and the Lincoln food scene. And that's how we've known each other for years now, is talking about the food industry.
Yeah, and in fact, the funny thing is, having Tom here today is particularly pertinent because when you and I started working on a lot of new ideas on farm to fork and a lot of different ideas, if you look back now, we opened Pinnacle Bank Arena with a farm to fork event with Andrew Zimmern, and phenomenal night. Yep. And I miss that. And we've talked so much about, we got to bring that back to Lincoln, and I think we could be getting close to doing something like that again. And
it was a fun evening. It was a great way to start, and I just saw pictures of it again recently.
7 years ago, this week.
Yep.
7 years ago this week, we did the event at PBA. Only the second event, the university graduation.
They had one other event, and this really was the first kind of fun thing. Not graduation isn't fun, but it was a great gathering, a great evening when everyone kind of not only looked at the food, but were looking around at the whole place, and we're able to show off a little bit. The food was excellent, and it was just a fun way to start. And so, thanks for doing that.
Fun. Okay, so we've set the stage, and as you know, the only way to talk about current events, politics, what's going on in the community, I highly recommend checking out a local craft beer. So tonight we are enjoying White Elm. I brought a couple of samples along. So this is, and I'm going to pour this. Tom already has a pour. Jeff has a pour. So we are drinking White Elm Brewing Company here in Lincoln. They just opened up several months ago, a tasting room down the street here. We are at Fuse Co-working / Parsons Public Relations in the Haymarket, in the heart of the Haymarket. And White Elm opened up a tasting room just down the street. And so this is the Goliath Imperial Stout. So that's what I'm going to pour, and you guys already have one. And Jeff, you are drinking also at White Elm, the Hazy Legs IPA, India Pale Ale. How is it?
It's delicious. It's IPAs have evolved so much, and IPAs are really starting to take hold in Lincoln, and so happy to have such a broad spectrum of beers available in Lincoln, and love what the folks at White Elm are doing. And they were one of the businesses that had to pivot during COVID-19 and did a lot of great carry-out business and some great marketing stories. What I love most about not only the flavor of local craft beer is the labels and the designs that go into their beers, and it's a form of art, and the folks at White Elm have done a really good job with it.
They do. So for those of you who have followed along, we did a craft beer tour back in the day.
Good.
With your wonderful organization. So anyway, gentlemen, cheers. Thanks for being here.
Two.
All right.
Isn't that wonderful?
And it's not, as dark and heavy as it looks, it's not that.
It's not but it's thick. It's got great coffee flavors in it. I love it. It's very good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you've had it before?
No, this is my first one of the Goliath, and
Yeah.
this is outstanding. So.
The Hazy Legs. We've
Not
had
ha-
the skinny. For those of you
Yeah.
who are paying attention, we had the Skinny Legs back when we had Lance Morgan on, and we talked about the gambling initiative a couple months ago. And Lance had a story about someone on the reservation that was nicknamed Skinny Legs or something. I don't know. You go back and look at it. It's humorous. So, yeah, the IPAs can't go wrong.
Wonderful. They're doing a great job with IPAs. Very citrusy, very the hazy IPA undertones, and just a great summer beer. And it almost, when you take a look at it, looks like an orange juice or
It does
a
kind of say
grapefruit
summer
juice.
all over it, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does, doesn't it? You got that right.
Well, thrilled that you guys could join us here today. There's so much conversation to have about the entertainment industry, about the hotel industry, and just what's going on in Lincoln. So maybe Jeff, maybe let's start with just talk a little bit about what's going on in Lincoln and how the pandemic has impacted your industry, and just talk a little bit about what's going on.
Yeah, it's much like all of us have went through over the last 6 months, and it's hard to believe it's been 5-6 months now that we all kind of dove into this the mid to late part of March. And the things that I remember most when I look back is doing state high school basketball over at Tom's building, and we got state high school girls basketball off the ground, and it did very well. And then we shifted to the boys weekend the following weekend, and of course that's when the outbreak happened in Fremont, and the Fremont team happened to be here the week before for girls. And Tom and his staff did an incredible job of getting the building ready to host an event that had a pandemic just hovering out there, and did a great job, had the event, and then after that, things just spiraled in the wrong direction. Our hospitality industry was devastated the end of March, early part of April. We started seeing conventions that were calling us saying, hey, I just don't see how we can do anything in the year 2020. We were part of a national focus that said, don't cancel your event altogether, but postpone. And I think the importance with that is we didn't want people to completely run away from our community, especially if you're a national event or a national convention. We wanted you to postpone your dates. Number one, because we wanted them to be in Lincoln at some point down the road. But number two, the peace of mind that our hotels and our convention facilities had to have at that point was something they needed. It was reassuring, and that was a big part of it. And it's been tough. We've had furloughs like most people. We've seen cutbacks happen in our hotels. Cornhusker Marriott just opened for the first time a little over a week ago.
Yeah.
And so, it's been devastating to our industry. And the thing that really, really hurt here in the last couple of weeks is we took devastation and made it really devastating with the announcement that Husker football is not going to be a part of our community.
So what was that like for both of you? That had to be, part of it was just from a public relations perspective. I didn't think it was handled that well, frankly.
Yeah, Dan, the biggest thing that we all dealt with throughout this entire issue was the uncertainty. When's the next thing? Back when we talked about canceling at least the public part of Boise State, we were anticipating being back in maybe May or June. And that we thought that was a pretty extensive, but it just keeps going. And we had prepared for Husker football. We do some parking, we do some different events around that. There was the potential of volleyball coming over to Pinnacle Bank Arena. And as the schedule came out, we were at the heights of being glad. And then 2 days later, it all got pulled out again. So it's that constant change and the uncertainty, and that really wears on some people. We manage stuff that changes, and that's part of what we do. But the changes have come so fast and so devastating that it's just tough.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things too that I remember reaching out to Tom here about 3 weeks ago is, as we were trying to figure out is the Husker football season going to happen? Is volleyball going to happen? Because the importance that Husker athletics has on our economy, it cannot be understated.
So what are those figures? I know you know them off the top of your head, but what are those figures? What's the economic impact of Husker football?
Husker football game day weekends is in excess of $6 to $7 million per weekend. 7 home games. The math is easy right there, and it has an impact on White Elm Brewery. It has an impact on the hotels. It has an impact on the bars and restaurants, all the way down to retail and where you fill up for gas in and out of town. And you think about the commerce that Husker football has, not just in the city of Lincoln, but statewide. People come great distances to Lincoln, Nebraska on game day weekends and are spending a ton of money along the way.
And they go through so much of the state also, and they stop and visit relatives and do all the things that are associated with that. And the toughest part is that people are a little bit scared, and we're not sure where they're going anymore. So we have to move beyond this, and it makes it that much tougher now to move beyond.
So that is in the prelude up to sitting down talking with you guys today. We all want, at least that's my nature. I know it's yours too. What's the glass is half full? We hear daily why the glass is half empty, and we all, this conversation about, masks have become political, which just, and me, I'm in the political business. It just drives us crazy to think that this worldwide pandemic has been boiled down to a political talking point. And so we're not doing that tonight on the podcast. We're gonna, I want to talk about, and I know you guys do too, what are the upsides? What are the opportunities for us in Lincoln to salvage the econoemy?
We had multiple concerts that were scheduled, and the thing that's great is that these most of them didn't cancel. We have 3 options. You either postpone, you reschedule, or you cancel. The majority of those concerts rescheduled. And so they're thinking ahead. They're anxious to come back. They're not willing to stop. They know their fan base is out there. We've had some concerts already now on their 2nd or 3rd reschedule, because it keeps getting pushed a little bit further back, but they're not willing to give up and they're not willing to stop. We took the opportunity in the arena to do a lot of projects that we hadn't been able to do for the last 7 years. It's only 7 years that we're open, but there was some time that we could do some special things. We put some new lighting in this year and things like that. So we took some time, and for my staff and I, again, we have a wonderful job, but we don't have weekends. There's always something going on the weekend, and the staff took the opportunity to go home, see family, do those kind of things. As bad as it is, there's some highlights to what happened. And we're better at maybe being leaner. We're better at moving forward. We're looking at different ways to market, and we've been able to expand some of our abilities, and people have been able to take time, and we've had those conversations. So you can't just sit and wring your hands. You have to go forward and have some positive outlook. We get to work with Jeff a tremendous amount. I don't know if people know how much they mean to our business, how much they mean to the city. And when I talk to my peers, we have one of the best opportunities in the world. We have a really great CVB that's proactive and works with us, and as much as Jeff and his staff go to bat for us and work for us, it's great to see those things, and we've just continued to make those relationships even better.
Jeff, for those who don't know what your day job is, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, talk about how you're funded and why. What's it like in the day of life of Jeff?
It's a great question, and I think to kind of piggyback off of what Tom said, this community wasn't built on convention and visitors bureaus and chambers of commerce alone. It's built on people like Tom Lorenz that have been great community assets with the former Pershing Center. It's still there, to all the way to Pinnacle Bank Arena, and we have such an open relationship. And a day in the life of Jeff Maul before March 19th was lodging tax records shattered across the board for 5 years straight.
Wow.
People were coming in record numbers. Lodging tax collections were through the roof. Sales tax collections, which our mayor and city council keep a close eye on. We were at a level that we'd never been before, and it was because Lincoln has done it right. We built this city, right? And we built this city the right way. It's still home to so many great people. So we've heard a lot about pivots in the industry. You hear the word pivot over and over and over again. As a Convention and Visitors Bureau, we haven't pivoted. We've done the business as usual from day one. We still contact groups. We're inviting new groups into conventions and sporting events to come to Lincoln. And our staff, although we've been working from home, have done a great job of making sure that Lincoln is still fresh in people's minds, because the word I use today is the same word I've used for 6 months: relevance. If you're relevant to your client and you're relevant to your community, you're going to get through these things. And we've had to be incredibly creative. The call that I placed to Tom a few weeks ago, we're either going to do football with football, or we're going to do football without football.
Nice. And I want to get into that.
And we've got to keep that energy.
So, but you have an announcement that just came through today.
Yeah, we just announced today that we have professional bull riders that are coming, and we've been talking to them for quite a few years, but they always wanted to schedule in that football time frame, and we'd like to do them annually, and we'd like to lock them in. Literally minutes
you weren't
after,
able to take care of it.
We weren't able to take care of it because it always changed. Even though we knew the schedule out there, it was really difficult to get them in, because what people don't know is even on a concert on a football weekend sounds like a great idea, but there's no hotel rooms. I mean, people are staying in Omaha to come here, and there's so many other things, and people are tired after a day of football. They're not going to come to an afternoon game and go to a night concert, so those kind of things happen. But yeah, when PBR, when we heard the news that football wasn't there, we were able to pivot. Yep. And so we made a call to PBR, and we started that process.
Professional bull riders.
Yeah. They have multiple levels. This is the A level. This is the best out there. I like to refer to it as rock and roll rodeo. I mean, it's not rodeo, but it is, it's production, and it's action, and it's, music, and this is really good, and we'll be on TV, the whole bit. So this is the best we can get.
ESPN or?
CBS will actually cover this.
Wow. Yeah. I've actually seen,
Yeah, so it's, those kind of things, and then that's one of those upside opportunities that, we had this open weekend. But it kind of goes in, hopefully, with what Jeff's talking about. We're going to do football with it or without. And so you'll still be able to come into town, see really cool things happening. You'll still be able to go to hotels. You'll still be able to, hit some of your favorite restaurants and, some of your great breweries. And now that we have one more opportunity for people is with PBR.
What are the dates, Tom?
October 3rd and 4th, and it'll be a Saturday evening and then a Sunday afternoon, so an early Sunday afternoon, about 12:45. So it's great to have the two performances, and these are the best riders, the best bulls in the country.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
What kind of makes up for the high school rodeo that we did?
Well, it does, and I mean, it's economic impact. You asked earlier how we're funded. We're funded almost 100% from lodging tax. So whether you put your feet in the sheets in a hotel or your head on a bed, the lodging tax that you pay, we get a portion of that back to our budget. So that's why we work each and every day, and we haven't given up since March in trying to drive activity into our community. The key components here are that the Cornhusker State Games happened in July. It showed that we can bring over 600 athletes from across the state and compete in a safe environment, socially distanced, and did it well, right? Star City BMX, we had 700 riders from 36 states at Sun Valley and Charleston this last weekend, in the hotels, in the restaurants, and they did it the right way. The next step is bull riding, because really in the end, consumer confidence is what this is all about. Sure. We've got to find ways to show people, when they take a look at our threat dial and they take a look at our numbers, the consumer, the traveler out there is going, we want to go to safe communities. We want to go to communities that are doing it right and doing it safely.
So talk about that a little bit. What's the communication like between you and the health department, and how is that? Because from a PR perspective, that seems to me the most important element is convincing people that it is safe.
So we get to work very closely with the health department. We get to work with Pat and Ben and Scott and all those folks, and we've met with them. They're outstanding. They come in and they're practical and they talk with us about realities. They're not just reading out of a book saying we can or can't do this. And so they've been very flexible with us. We were able to do 7 high school graduations. We did 6 LPS, and when Pius also came in and did that, we were able to work with them and find social distancing and ways to do the Beach Boys out at Pinewood Bowl. And so I think that raised some confidence of folks. This weekend we're going to do an MMA event, which is table seating, a little bit of GA, but it's socially distanced, and the fighters have their own set of protocols to deal with. Right. So, they seem like they're the bad guy, but they're not. They're really working with all of us to make this work. They're trying to find a safe way to do it, and they provide us very good, very clear guidelines that we can work within.
A couple things. Is the MMA event this weekend one of the first events you've had?
We did, aside from graduation and the Pinewood Bowl show, this is the first kind of ticketed event that we're doing, and we go right from that. We worked with Cornhusker State Games a little bit, did some things up in the premium level, and we've got another thing with Cornhusker Corporate Games that's coming up in October. But it's growing those things a step at a time and getting people so they're comfortable to come back in and showcasing what we can do as far as our safety measures and as far as sanitizing the building and doing all those things that corporate helps us with and that the health department helps us with, and we have to win back their confidence.
You mentioned the Beach Boys and Pinewood Bowl. I mentioned in our pre-session, for me, I'm a musician and I love music and I take in quite a few concerts. My top 5 concerts in my life have been at Pinewood Bowl. And when Kent Wogamont wrote that article, the review of the Beach Boys concert, and said, here are the Beach Boys. I saw them when I was in high school out in Denver, back in the day. And here they are 40, 50 years later. And Kent, I loved his review because he said, we're back.
We needed this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wasn't able to go, but it was just, it sounded like such a wonderful.
It was heartwarming, and the audience was my age group. It wasn't. We didn't have a lot of teenagers there, but it was their 50th anniversary tour. But we knew every song, and it was comforting to sit around people and to see friends and the people that came out to Pinewood Bowl. I knew a lot of them. And so it was a beautiful evening, and they had fun. The band did. They want to play. These guys have been doing this for 50 years, and I was so blown away that they said, yes, we want to do this, and we did everything we could. And Dan, you talk about Pinewood Bowl, and you and I just briefly hit on it. It is one of the best venues in the country. Artists love it, and my highlight was Steely Dan. How long I had. That's my favorite band, and to be able to do Steely Dan at Pinewood Bowl, it does get better than that, but I can't imagine.
Well, Fagan was so good. Yeah. When he was so good. He's unpretentious. Yep. I mean, it was. And the band.
Oh, there's never been a better backup band in that building, in that venue. Yep.
But think about what you're talking about. Think about the opportunities that Pinewood Bowl and Pinnacle Bank Arena have brought to our community. There's probably not many artists that Tom has failed to bring into this community, and his whole team, Derek, everybody, Charlie, what they have done for our community has been amazing. And the one thing I want to be quick to point out is Pinnacle Bank Arena, the Leeds Center for Performing Arts, Pinewood Bowl, our hotel convention spaces are all open for business right now. And Zoo Bar, if you can socially distance and do things the right way, we can continue to have fun and have the laughs and the joys that we're doing, and we can return our economy back to pre-COVID standards. We have to do it.
I wanted to talk a little bit about what it looks like in Lincoln, Nebraska without college football. And maybe there's some things that you can't talk about yet because I'm hearing some things, but what does it look like without college football in this city?
The emotional impact that Husker football has on our community cannot be something that we can overlook. I think the important thing that we need to do this fall is remind people, still wear red on Fridays to work. Still carry your Husker spirit into the streets of Lincoln on Fridays and Saturdays. We want to invite people from across the state, and if not across the country, that would have been here for game day to come in and experience game day experiences. You're more than likely going to be able to watch games from past years in the bars and restaurants. We want people to stay in the hotels. We want those getaways, those staycation opportunities. So that's what we want people to do, because if we let this opportunity pass, it's going to be even tougher.
How do we go ahead.
Well, we think about it, it's only about football. It's not.
No.
Right.
Look at how many people never go into the stadium, but they get together and they tailgate, and they get together with families, and they haven't had that for so long. They need to get back together and sit down and enjoy a steak or enjoy hot dogs and a beer or something, and that's the part that's cool. And they can do it here, and they can do it in familiar areas, and have all the different support services that Lincoln still has.
And everybody's stepping up with ideas. I have been inundated since the announcement with, hey, this is what we're going to do at our restaurant and bar. The bar in Kramer, Nebraska is going to show the entire, 1995 season every Saturday in Kramer. So I'm thinking, we got to do this stuff in Lincoln, and everybody is stepping up. We have media partners stepping up. We have everybody wanting a piece of the action. And you know what? At the end of the day, if we do as directed by our health department, this will work right here.
What does that look like? Because so like most of us, I think I have friends throughout the spectrum of people who, and again, without the political commentary, but people who think that, I don't really get into wearing the mask thing, and then other people who aren't leaving their homes. So where is that assurance that your facility and just the whole Haymarket area and the bars and restaurants, that we can continue to provide those services in a safe and effective manner? I mean, obviously, again, thanks to Mayor Leary and the work that her and her staff and Pat Lopez in the health department. I mean, I think we're writing the script for the country of how to do it right.
Well, you can come into Pinnacle Bank Arena for at least the first couple weekends and have a game up on the video board, and we have 16,000 seats, and so you can spread out. You can bring your family and not have to feel like you're sitting next to somebody you don't know. You'll be able to come in, enjoy a beverage, maybe have a hot dog, park, walk back out into the rail yard, experience what's going on out there. In the morning, if you come in early enough, you'll come in on a Saturday morning and go through farmers market. And so, I mean, you can make a complete day out of it and enjoy the pieces of it. And we've already proved we've done it well. There's been no tracking back to the events that we did. So people can know that, it's not done lightly. And you're right, I've got oversight from my company, ASM Global, who is the largest facility provider, a management company in the world. And so we have protocols and all those kind of things to go through. It's a safe thing to do. And this is Lincoln, Nebraska. People should feel a little more comfortable that things are going to be done well, done right, and done with safety in mind.
Well, the Stay Safe initiatives in all of our hotels across the city. Stay Safe initiatives brought to you by the American Hotel Lodging Association have been adopted across the board. And I keep telling people and remind people on a threat dial of all the activities that you can do day in and day out, hotel lodging, camping, and outdoor events represent such a small portion of risk right now. And I truly believe in that. And our hotels have done such a great job. They're ready to welcome people back.
Yeah, because there's no stories, at least that I've heard, of where the infections or where the problems have come from. I've never heard that. The problems are elsewhere.
We've been informed about the COVID virus for months, and we all have a pretty good sense on what it is. And people can make great decisions, and people can, stay at their distance. They can do the right things and be safe and still enjoy themselves.
Well, as we begin to wrap up, if our viewers and listeners want to learn more about PBA and the things that you're doing, Tom, and the Convention and Visitors Bureau, Jeff, where should they go?
Lincoln.org is our website, and our visitor center, appropriately located at 7th and Peastrick in the historic Haymarket, 434-5348. Tracy Simpson, 9 to 1, Monday through Friday, is ready to take your call and help you get a room right here in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Beautiful.
You like that?
Tracy's great.
Good.
Yes.
And we're pinnaclebankarena.com, and we've got lots of information on the website. We're on Facebook. We'll have new events coming up. If you want to know about a postponed concert, what's going on there, get on our website and talk to that. Our box office has some limited hours, and we're just here and excited about things. And I don't think we're done at Pinewood Bowl yet. We're still trying for more stuff.
Good.
Yep. So
Good news.
I may
Good.
slip in I can't announce anything yet, but the phone hasn't stopped ringing yet, so
That's
we're still
great.
figuring it out.
That is great. Well, I can't thank you both enough for being here and sharing a delicious White Elm beer tonight. And let me just thank Pints and Politics producer extraordinaire Steve Van Hoosen, who's behind the camera, Kim Remington, who's the operations manager for Parsons Public Relations. The Pints and Politics theme music that you may be hearing in a few moments, performed and written by Jack Rodenberg.
Right, is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Jack did a really cool little, podcast kind of thing this spring already, so it was pretty cool. Yeah.
And you can hear Jack on KZUM, I think, daily or sometime during the week. He does a great job with his radio show. And that Rodenberg name, a Lincoln mainstay.
Thanks to Fuse Co-working, who were here, and Parsons Public Relations, our home base. But thanks to Jeff Maul and my friend Tom Lorenz. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. I appreciate the difficult jobs you both have to keep this city entertained and moving forward, and you do it so very well. So cheers to both of you.
Get to work. Yep.
Yep.
Cheers, guys.
All right.